to talk about directed numbers. Directed numbers, um, these are numbers. These are numbers with both magnitude, which is they have the size, which is the quantity. They have the size, which is the quantity, and the direction. These are directed numbers. Or we would say um, these are numbers. These are numbers with a positive or a negative sign, right? They have both negative and positive sign, which shows how far it shows how far a number is from 0 and in which direction, right? um let's talk about let me break down what I'm trying to say. Let's say we have what we call a positive number. Let's say we have a positive number. um a positive number is any number which is greater than 0, greater than 0, and they increase moving rightward. On a number line, move the value which is increasing and it's moving rightward on a number line, right? For example, we're talking of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, going this direction. These are what we call positive numbers. And if we talk about negative numbers, negative numbers, these are values which are less than 0, and they are decreasing, moving leftward on the number line from 0. So we are saying these are numbers which are less than 0, and they decrease they decrease, moving leftward on a number line. Right? For example, we have -1, -2, -3, -4 going down. To show you a typical number line is like this. That's a typical number line here. At the middle of the number line, we have 0. And on the right side of the number line, which is from 0 to the right, we have positive numbers. And on the left side, we have negative numbers. So this one here will be, let's say, +1, 1, 2, increasing to this side, 3, 4, going up to infinity on the positive side. And this side will be having -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. And it's important to note that 0 is greater than any number that is on the left side. So, which means 1 is greater than -2. -2 is greater than -4. -3 is greater than -4 going this side. Altogether, this is a typical number line. And these are negative values, and these are positive values on the right side. And what is most important is to know how to do operations with the directed numbers. That's what is much more important. Operations with directed numbers. How do we add? How do we subtract? How do we multiply? How do we divide values on a number line? So let's gonna start with the addition. Let's start with the addition. The addition of values in number line, it depends if you are adding values that have the same sign, values of the same sign, you just add and keep the sign. If the values you are adding, they have the same sign, what you need to do, you just add the numbers. Just add the numbers and keep the sign. Right? For example, let's say you have 3 plus 5. If a number doesn't have a sign that is showing in front of it, it means that number is positive. So it's like +3 plus +5. So you just add the numbers. 3 plus 5, you're gonna get 8, and you keep the sign, which is +8. Altogether on that. If the numbers are negatives, let's say it's -3 plus negative 5. You see the numbers that I'm adding, all of them, they are of the same sign, which is negative. So you just add the two numbers and you keep the sign. So the answer here is 8 and it's negative. So just keep the signs because they are the same, or they are of the same value altogether. How do we add values of different signs? How do we add values of different signs? When you add values, of different signs, what you do, when you add values of different signs, what you do, I'll say, subtract the smaller value from the bigger value. Then you take the sign of the larger value, right? Just subtract the smaller value from the bigger value, and then you take the sign of the bigger value. Subtract the smaller value, subtract the smaller value from the larger value, subtract the smaller value from the larger values, and take the sign of the larger value, right? For example, let's say we have 7 plus negative 3. You are adding positive 7 plus negative 3. So what you do, you just subtract 3, the smaller value, from the larger value. So it's 3 minus 7. You're going to get 4. And this 4, which sign does it take? It takes the value, the sign of the larger value, which is going to be positive 4. Right? If we have negative 8 plus positive 5, same situation, adding different signs, subtract the smaller from the bigger one. So you're going to subtract 5 from 8, you're going to get 3, and then you take the sign of the larger value, which is negative. So that's going to be negative 3, like that. That's how you do addition of values with the different signs, right? We can talk about subtraction. How do we do the subtraction? How do we do the subtraction? When doing the subtraction, it's easy. There is a simple command that I can give you that when you are doing this, it's quite easy to subtract a number and add its negative. When you're subtracting directed numbers, just subtract a number or I'm saying to subtract a number, just add its opposite. What I'm saying, let's me write that. To subtract, right, a number, add its opposite, then apply the addition principles. Which addition principles? That when you add values with the same sign, add them and take and maintain the sign. If they have different sign, subtract the smaller one from the bigger one and take the sign off the bigger one. You can do that here. When I say subtract a number, to subtract a number, add its opposite. I'm saying, for example, let's say you are given 5 minus 3. If you look careful, just add the opposite. I'm saying, just to say 5 plus negative 3. Right? This is positive, this is negative. They have different signs. So you subtract the smaller one from the bigger one, you're going to get 2. And you check the value of the bigger one, which is positive. So it's going to be positive 2. Simple as that. Another example, let's say it's negative 7 minus 4. Right? What do? Do the same. Just introduce addition. Negative 7 plus negative 4. Now, which sign you should use? They have the same. Which principle you should use for addition? They have the same sign. So when they have the same sign, add the values and maintain the sign. So you're gonna have 7 plus 4, that's 11, and maintain the sign. That's negative 11. Simple as that, right? And to complete our lesson, let's complete them with multiplication and division. Multiplication and division of directed numbers. How do you multiply or divide directed numbers? It's easy, right? When multiplying, or dividing, values with the same signs, when multiplying the values with this, multiplying or dividing values with the same sign, the result will always be positive. Right? For example, 4 times 3, they are both positive. So since all of them, they're both positive, the answer is positive 12, because they have the same sign. When you divide, let's say 12 divided by 4, both they are positive. They're dividing each other. So the result you expect is positive, because you are dividing and multiplying the values with the same sign, so the result is always positive. So here you're going to get positive 3. Same applies even if they are negatives. If you have negative 4 times negative 3, all the numbers they are multiplying, they have the same sign, so the answer is going to be positive 12. If you divide negative 12 divided by negative 4, since they have the same signs, the answer is always positive 3. Are we together on that? When you multiply or dividing values with the same signs, the result will always be positive, right? But when multiplying or dividing values with different pardon me my spelling there, with different signs, the result will always be negative. For example, if we have positive 4 multiplied by negative 3, the answer is negative 12 because we are multiplying the values with different signs. If we divide 12 divided by, let's say, negative 12 divided by positive 6, the value will be always negative because they have different signs. So the value is positive, negative 2, right? And this is how you deal with directed numbers. So for this box, for this multiplication division, I can give you this box. I can call it the multiplication and division box, that negative 1 times negative 1 is equals to positive 1. Negative 1 divided by negative 1 is equals to positive 1. And negative 1 times positive 1, the answer is equals to negative 1. And negative 1 divided by positive 1, the answer is negative 1. When divide or multiply values with the same sign, right, the answer is always positive. But if you multiply or divide the signs with the different numbers, the answer is always negative. Thank you. Have a good day.